Hi, stamping friends. Hi there. It's Marilyn here with Stamping Creations with Marilyn from Spruce Grove, Alberta, Canada, and where it is another warm, hot day, which we're loving. Don't get me wrong. Keep thinking about the not very long till we have winter months coming again, and we don't really enjoy them as much for sure. So today I'm going to share with you some watercolor background techniques that I've been working on. Some I like better than others, and I'm sure you will too, but hopefully you will take time to comment and let me know what you think. But before I get to that, I have a few things to talk about that are happening in the Stampin' Up! World. We have a new holiday catalog. I'll show you the front of it when I turn you down to my workstation. That is going to be coming live on August 4th, next Wednesday, I believe it is. And in conjunction with that, we also will be having a new ordering system online. Stampin' Up! Has been working very hard, and we've really needed it to have this new system working for us. So we're hoping that everything goes tickety-boo when it happens. Just a word of caution on there that if you have an online order, if you've ordered online and saved your password and whatever, Stampin' Up! Has asked that you write it down somewhere and remember it, because everything will be transferred as far as name, address, credit card, that kind of thing, but the password will not be transferred and you will need to have it. So just a word of note on that. I will be doing the draws for the July 21st share and comments, and share that with you when I switch down to the workstation as well. And what else do I need to tell you? Oh, I do have a Zoom class every Friday, almost every Friday. It's just crafting with friends. And if you'd like to join us on that, please go to my website and sign up for my email, and then I can include you in the invite. Just let me know. It's nothing where I give out supplies or anything. You use all your own supplies, so it's a great way to use some of the things that you've bought over the Stampin' Up! Time. And if you want to share something and teach something, you're more than welcome to do that as well. I just do the hosting of the Zoom class. So it's a great event. If you can make it, fine. And if not, come the next week. So just wanted to share that with you. Also, I'm going to share a screen view here of bonus days are still happening in July for every $60. Talking Canada, of course. Every $60 you spend, you will get a coupon for $6 to spend in August. It does have to be used in August. And when you get that email from Stamping Up, you have to make sure you keep it, because we cannot retrieve that information. But it's a great way to have a little bit of savings on your next order in August. And also in August, demonstrators will be able to order the new cut machine that's replacing the Big Shot. Emboss and cut and emboss machine, I believe. So that's exciting for us, and you do still have time to sign up as a demonstrator, and you would be able to get that as well. So lots of things happening in our part of the world. So I'm going to now switch you over to my desktop. You should be seeing my two catalogs and my current host code. So this is the front of the August to December mini catalog, which in our world had always been called the Christmas catalog. And as you can see by the samples on the front, it is a lot of Christmas still happening in it. So that is mini catalog, really great. And just a minute, I hit a wrong button over here, and that's not working right. The samples on the front, so it is a lot of Christmas. Sorry. Anyway, good to see a couple of you there, Terry and Bonnie. Thank you. So that's the catalog. If you don't have one, I did drop some off this morning to some of my customers here in Spruce Grove, so please look on your front step for those. And if not, I do have some here. If you want one, just let me know and I'll get one to you. Now, before we get on with the project, I would like to do the draws. This is what I'm giving away for the comments, basic adhesive back sequins. And sorry, I don't have what colors those are on there, but this is from July 21st. I had a number of you comments, so they're in my little tin here. And this is a tin that I got a couple of years ago from Stampin' Up to do with one of the tag bundles. So if you're looking at any of those kind of things, there's definitely extras in there. So for this one, I am going to draw, and I have Sylvia P. Thank you very much for commenting on that video. I will get that to you, Sylvia. And for the sharing, it's only done by a couple, but I will still, and again, do a draw for that. And you will also get a card. I've got lots of cards, obviously, so I will be sending you a card of some sort with that. And for that one, it is Rhonda M. So thanks again for sharing, and I hope you continue to do so. So I am going to now move on to the project. As mentioned in my headline, I am doing watercolor backgrounds, and I am going to be using, see if you can see it on here, we have what's called now water painters. There's a set of 3 in the package. Holds liquid for easy watercoloring, 3 painters, a fine tip, a medium tip, a large brush tip. Use with the watercolor paper, which if you're looking for that, it's over here on page 153. And it comes 10 sheets that size in a package. And the brushes, I was pleasantly surprised at the sizes of them. These are the old ones that the watercolor brushes that we had. And you can see that they held water, and mine were a little bit discolored, but they still have water in them, and they will still work, so I will probably keep them handy. And there was 2 sizes there, but when you get these now, you do get 3. And I have filled them with water. I haven't added any of the alcohol or anything to these. This is the wide one, and I'm using it on one of the cards. Then we have the medium one, and I must admit, when I started trying to use them, and a fine one, I had a terrible time getting it undone here because I was turning this way and it was backwards. So you have to, just a tidbit there if you do get them. I watched someone with a video, and they said, I believe there was an extra washer kind of thing to keep them from dripping when they shouldn't be. So those are what we're going to use, and they come in a package if you want to keep them in that. So for my first card, and I've kind of pre-done some of the things. This is what we're going to end up with, and with an embellishment on it. So I have used Peaceful Moments. I love the happy birthday out of there. And I've used that on 2 of the cards. And the Stitch So Sweetly Dies, which is that. But I want to show you how to do, yes, I did cut that out of there thinking I was going to use a pink on the back, and I didn't really care for it when I got it done. So, but another tidbit there, if you're going to put that on as a layer, you can always punch out a punch image, and nobody will ever know the difference. So to do this one, you might guess that I did start with the wide brush. So it has water in it. It says on it, and I don't know how well you can see it, but it does say push. So I either do it on my hand. I can, if feel it a little bit there. I do have additional water here if I need it to get it started. And for this one, I am going to use my two new colors, Magenta Madness and Misty Moonlight. Still trying to, there. Now it's coming more. And I've, of course, got a paper towel with it. So, I'll just show you what I did with that one. It also helps when you're using the watercolor paper to have it a little bit wet. It seems to, you notice on this one, the roughness when I use the brush. And I'm thinking on today's, I am going to spritz it. I have put a mark to show where it is, and sometimes it still doesn't seem to go where I want it to. But anyway, that is the spritzer. So I've got that wet now. And what I did with it, you can, especially with our older stamp pads, not so much with these, if you push on them, you sometimes get ink. But I habit of mine is that I do buy the refills when I buy stamp pads. So therefore I do have, well, I guess I don't need any more in there. I have the refill for the Magenta Madness and I have the one for the Misty Moonlight. And I just used a little bit of that ink in there, dipped my brush in it, and I started with, and again, squeeze the water to make it so that it's going to paint easily. And I just started with the end. Oh, a little bit too much water. And their end. I think I'm in the camera. And again, in the center. And the reason I did this one and it's not stuck in the card is this is going to take a bit of time to dry. And I would suggest, if you don't want it running like that, that you don't spritz it quite so much as I did in the beginning there. So you can wash the brush or you can just brush it back and forth on the paper towel. And then I'm going to use the pink in the center. This is doing more of the card that I want to do next. And with having this wide brush, it's great because you don't have to go back and forth a lot, but it's making some stripes across there. So, and you can add more ink. You can't take it away very well, but you certainly could add more if you wanted. And that would be your background for that particular card. So I will go ahead and put the rest of the card together and leave that one dry. And I will show you that towards the end, but I will also post it when I get that one put together later today. So that was my wide brush. And as I mentioned, I do have pieces for that one pretty well together here. So I decided with mine that I would put mine in the portrait orientation. And that background definitely you could use in either or. So I'm just putting it on, sure got the right side up, on a layer of white. And then because the watercolor paper is a different texture, you could use a number of dimensionals, which maybe I will on this one. But I would recommend, rather than, quite often I would, on a piece this size, I would only use 4. But I certainly am going to use more on this because I don't want it popping up because of the texture of it. So managed to pull those off with my nails easily. I've seen Lillian, actually, a friend of mine, fellow stamper, that uses the take your pick tool quite successfully. I still have to master that trick. And thinking of Lillian, just want to let you know that Lillian and Joanne and I, we did the stamping staycation in June, and we are working, have picked our projects, and are working on them for the one that we are going to be hosting in September. So stay tuned for more information and registration on that one. We're having a ball with some of the new things, some of the ones out of the annual catalog. Stay tuned. So there's a background. The colors aren't identical, but you can tell they are the same shades. And that is our first card. Oh, and lucky I had them out here. I had decided that off my paper, these are the in color enamel dots. And I can get that off there with the blue. And just going to add one there, and perhaps, because I have the blue as well, I'll add a blue in there. I know, I usually do threes, but I kind of like that one with just the two. So that will be my first card to share with you. Then I did one with more of a mottled kind of background. And that's, as I said, that first one was tending to do that. So I've used the Granny Apple Green and Gorgeous Grape. Find my ink pads. And Bermuda Bay. You could use whatever colors you like. But again, it was a piece of designer paper. And this time I've cut it the same size as my background green because I found that my edges didn't have exact color on them and I didn't want them left blank, white, clear, whatever you want to call it. So then I was able to trim it. So again, this time I'm going to use the medium-sized brush. Make sure it has some water there. And no rhyme or reason to how I put the ink on. And this is the older style stamp pad that I mentioned. I remember how to open it. So you can get ink on there and you just, oh no, this is the one I do need the water. Sorry. There it is. So I'm going to use my, oh, still got some red in that one. Just to spread that water around. So then when you go to add this ink, it will run. So you can just dab it. So my Bermuda Bay, see if I can recreate that one that I did. Similar, but so you could probably use the wider brush for this as well. And the other thing that can be done is once it's done, if you want it to run more, is spritz it afterwards. So that's all I'm going to do for the Bermuda Bay on that particular one. Then I'm going to take my green, and as you can see, I still have some. So it's, like I say, no rhyme or reason as to how or what you need to do with it. It's just get some color on there. And No wonder I need to trim it off. I don't even go close to the edge when I'm putting the ink on. You can go over it again if you want it darker, but there's no, like I say, no right or wrong. It's just giving you some color for a background. So I will again clean my brush. Be able to see what it looks like it isn't doing, I think. And then gorgeous grape. Got some ink way down here. It's lucky the case is closed like they're supposed to, isn't it? So I will just, isn't that a neat feature that happens when you just touch it and it spreads like a spider web kind of thing. Maybe getting ready for Halloween. If we're going to have Halloween this year. What are your thoughts? Anybody have an opinion on that as to whether we're going to be able to have Halloween with the kids? I really have mixed feelings about that as well. And of course, recently the bylaws about wearing masks everywhere now in the city of Edmonton has happened. So it's just a good thing to stay home and craft, I think. So that is basically, now I think what I would do with this, just to show you a little bit, I'm going to wash my brush off, and I do still have water in it. And if I add some water here, I can lighten it up and spread more of that color around. So like I said, you can see by the two of them that they're certainly never going to be the same. And you could add more colors if you wanted, but I like those together. So I'm going to set that one aside to dry, and we will build the one that I had completed earlier. So to do the words on this one, I have used Very Vanilla for the background, mainly because cardstock isn't white, but it's not Very Vanilla, but I thought it was closer to Very Vanilla. So then I would mount my Granny Apple Green. I think I'm going to lay that down. And what I did with this one was I stamped words in the gorgeous grape, make sure the right word. And those words are from this host set, Love You Most. I really like the script writing and what's available in that set. And then the die, I thought, really added something by having, oh, just dumped it all over the floor. Thought it was inside the envelope. Having the scrolly part, and that one is from the Ornate Layers, which, like I say, I just dumped all over the floor. So if you're looking for where I found that, that's where it is. So I am going to attach that with my seal. Whoops. Again, check that I have in the right direction. Didn't want to mount things upside down, you know. And on this one, I am going to use my liquid glue. The stick. And then for my greeting, somewhere. I'm going to pop up with dimensionals, and by using that particular border die with the scroll border, you can see the colors through behind it. So gorgeous. And on this one, I've decided to use the champagne jewels. And I will probably put just one of them. So odd number on that one. So I did manage to get that. So a great way to use your colors, use your embellishments, and you don't need a lot of them, but it does add to your project. Okay, so that was the second brush. Now, for the third one, I did a technique where this piece, I will show you how I did it because I'm going to, I actually taped it to this cardstock that comes with your designer paper, whatever. You can see I've kept it for a while. I've got tape. So I took it and I taped it, and then you can see I wasn't very careful when I went to take the tape off, so I tore it. And I thought, you know what, I'm not going to throw it out. So I took my paper trimmer and cut this hole out of this layer instead of doing this, which is what I had planned, because I very carefully kept the edges the same. So this is what you do when you're a stamper. You make things work. So then I took it and I cut this out. So I'm going to take this and show you what I did. And this one I did use lots of water. Just, I'll leave it over there. This is painter's tape, available in the hardware store or whatever. Washi tape would probably work just as well, but of course we do not have washi tape in the catalog anymore. So if you have some around, you might want to hang on to it. And when I do this, I try to make my edges even, you can see, so that when I take it off, it'll look really sharp. And I'll see if I can get this one to work. And like I say, I will post it under the video on my site there, and you can see the difference in the cards. And these look dry and I finished them. So when you want to do something that's really wet and have it really runny, which is what happened here, and believe it or not, the colors I used here are Granny Apple Green, which is here. We had the Bermuda Bay, and this one is Blackberry Bliss. Hard to believe. But with Blackberry Bliss with it, it does pick up the tones and whatever. I just had lots and lots of water on it. So I took my spritzer and I soaked it. And that. Okay, then I did use the smaller brush just because I wanted to try them all. I've got them, might as well use them. And I started with a bit of the Granny Apple Green on the top. And when you, again, similar to that second one that I did, when you put it on with water on the card, on the base already, it runs. And you could, if you don't have the ink refill to put it in, oops, not in the camera here, sorry, you can dip your brush in on the ink pad. So I used that one, and then I used Bermuda Bay. And again, as you put it across, it's going to run. Can you see how you could end up doing things like water scenes? Perhaps make a hill for snow. I know, shouldn't be thinking snow this time. You can go back after it's dried even and add more color, and if you want it darker. And then back to my Blackberry Bliss. I actually was shocked that it ended up being so light. See what happens with it? Isn't that neat? But I'm sure as you watch this, you can see why you tape it down. Otherwise, it's going to, I have tried it. Now this one's going to look a lot better with Blackberry Bliss card base and whatever, or card border. If you don't tape it down and let it dry that way, it does curl. And then you really need a lot of adhesive, good adhesive, to have it back to where you want it. But you can see when you're done with it, you can move that paint around, that color, by just tipping it. And I'm quite pleased with that. I might end up doing a little bit darker with the Bermuda Bay because I like that. And I'm just going to set that aside and let it dry. So until then, I want to show you how I did this because it is kind of a, put it on your paper trimmer. If you have the Stampin' Up one, you can see you have markings for 1 inch, 4 inch. So what I did, I can't remember my sizes. This is 5 1/4, so I wanted to cut a 1 inch border, is what I was aiming for. So I went to the 1 inch here, and I started my cutting at the 1 inch mark here, just by pressing down, and it's going to start cutting there, and then it's 5 1/4, so I wanted to go to 4 1/4. And now it's hard for me to see. There's 4, there's 4 1/4. So you can cut in the middle like that. I'm not going to do that on that one because I'm hoping when I take that off, I will be able to do it well enough that I can place it that way. So if I have to cut it. Anyway, what I did with that was just continued all the way around because the markings are here for the 1 inch. You can use that as a measure and you don't have to get out an X-Acto knife unless you really want to do those kind of things. So again, I used the very vanilla base. I am going to actually mount this to this first because I have stamped in Blackberry Bliss, and I can, well, can't move it a lot, but I can move it around to where I want to have it show through that window. So on here, I will, I've already put those on, so I will use my liquid glue. And just, probably a little better to use the liquid anyway, because then I can adjust it somewhat when I place it. Oh, what did I do with my, oh, there it is. I was going to say, sure I had my pad here, and definitely not in the center or anything else, but that's where I stamped it. So now I will adhere it. And again, probably should put my little pearls on later, but I'm trying to pre-do it so I wasn't taking a lot of time doing things that you already know how to do. So that will go on the card right there. So for these pearls, I just used the regular pearls that we have. I did try coloring some and I wasn't happy with them. So the regular pearls, but in the new August to December catalog, I don't have one here to show you, but they do have, in conjunction with some poinsettias, they have some pearls that are already grouped in three like that, and they have a little bit of another decoration of some sort on them. So gorgeous item to maybe put on your wish list. And of course, so hopefully that has helped you. I'm sorry I can't read comments. I don't know what I do wrong on my iPad for that, but someday I'll figure that out while I'm doing this. So I will go back to them definitely afterwards and answer everything, all the questions you have. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. You've learned a little bit about making watercolor backgrounds, and I would love it if you would try some and share them on this post so that we can learn together. So thanks everyone, and hopefully I will see you again next week with another craft of some sort. It will be a card, I'm sure. Sometimes maybe a box, maybe a bag, who knows. And like I said before, if you do want to join our Zoom, what do we call it? Zoom class with friends on Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock, just go over and sign up for my email and let me know, and then I can include you in the invite. It gives all the dimensions of what we need to make whatever project the teacher is going to show us. So thanks again and happy crafting.